32 years ago, this American boy lost his footing and fell into a river, but 32 years later, he woke up in a rice paddy in rural China. Walking into the village, the unfamiliar language overwhelms him.
小孩，你怎么了？不要怕，你的爸爸妈妈来吗？
需不需要我帮忙啊？
The boy couldn't understand a word and passed out on the spot. Later, with the help of the embassy, he was sent back to the USA. An agent dropped him off at his doorstep. The man who opened the door looked like the boy's grandpa, but Jack rushed up and shouted, "Daddy!" The father looked bewildered. In contrast, the mother recognized Jack immediately, even though he is still stuck at the age of 8. But Jack's appearance and every mannerism told her clearly, this is her own son who died 32 years ago. The local sheriff arrived on the news. He was Jack's uncle, also drowned in the river the day 32 years ago was his wife. As soon as the sheriff arrived, he questioned the agent.
I want you to explain to me why a federal agency would issue a report for a boy who died 32 years ago. Is this some kind of sick joke? No, stop it.
Uncle Fred.
The sheriff was stunned. Just then, Jack suddenly collapsed and convulsed. He was immediately taken to hospital. The doctor examined him and found nothing unusual. She was Jack's cousin. Upon learning of the situation, she secretly took blood from Jack and sent it for DNA testing, although the difference was not apparent on the outside. But Jack, who came back from the dead, there was something strange about it. Not only did he eat far more than normal, but he barely slept. The agent also thought the whole thing was too strange. He decided to stay in town and find out the truth. News of Jack's resurrection began to spread through the town. Some thought it was a miracle. Others were terrified. Among them was Jack's father. By late afternoon, the DNA test results came back. It matches the father's exactly. The father felt a sense of horror. If this man is Jack, then who is the man he buried 32 years ago? So they decided to open the coffin where Jack was buried. They opened the coffin where Jack had been buried, found the body still inside. Even the clothes he was wearing were the same as when he was resurrected. This means that Jack has not resurrected at all. And what exactly is this little boy who has returned? Jack's presence affects more than one family. It also shatters the peace of the town. But what no one expected was, this is just the beginning. Late one night shortly afterwards, the town's second resurrectionist appeared. His name was Keller, and he had successfully robbed a money truck more than a decade earlier. But a few days later, he died of a heart attack and the case was closed. Meanwhile, the priest was returning to the church when he noticed signs of damage to the door. He walked along the bloodstains, only to see a woman sitting alone in the church. The priest went up to her and found her hands covered in blood. One more look at her face and he was completely stunned.
Did I really die?
For this woman was Ellie, the priest's first love, who had committed suicide 12 years earlier. She is also the third resurrectionist to appear in this town. To avoid causing a disturbance, the priest temporarily placed her in the basement. The presence of these resurrectionists has disrupted the town, especially the second reanimator, Keller. After an investigation by the agent and the sergeant, the two men found that he was a strong suspect in a robbery that took place more than a decade ago, but what they never expected. Now Keller has come back to life and robbed the money truck again by the same means. This time, the police immediately targeted him and launched a manhunt, but they have not been able to find Keller. But Jack, also a resurrectionist, sensed his presence.
We just passed Keller. Where? I'm not sure. A dental factory, I think.
Soon, the police surrounded the old factory. Keller was arrested on the spot, but no matter how much interrogation, Keller wouldn't talk and left a message.
More are coming. More than you can ever imagine.